Good morning. This is Josh Hayes with Hedge Plus, and here's today's market monitor. Acceptance of the fundamentals is finally appearing to set in. It's not that we're having catastrophic weather issues. It's just that weather is finally being factored. That with projected ending stocks as they are right now, and I guess the acceptance of the demand. Uh, People are finally starting to build in some weather premium, take account of um, all different kinds of scenarios and possibilities, building issues, and doing a little bit of short covering, to be honest with you. One of the things we're seeing is in Brazil, for instance, they are increasing their use of corn in ethanol production. It's cutting into what stocks they have available for export, as everyone was questioning whether there would be demand for U.S. products because of these trade wars. The thought was that, well, Argentina and Brazil, South America, are having this amazing growing season, and they're going to have this banner crop and they'll be able to pick up some of the slack. Well, what they weren't accounting for is these countries are expanding their use of these crops for fuel and biofuels just the same way we are, but actually on a much more accelerated pace. So Brazil is using even higher blends for ethanol, and it's really cutting into what they have available to share with the rest of the world and to export. So we're seeing that situation tighten. We already know the U.S. If it doesn't have a record production year, is going to get really tight with both corn and beans. And now we have to start factoring in some weather. For the first time, we're seeing planting begin to slow down as areas are too wet. The downside later on for that, and what will pressure prices, is the fact that it's improving soil moisture, so that if we do get hot and dry later, it won't be quite as impactful. But in the meantime, some areas are just downright getting too much rain. And then you add cold temperatures in the northern states in the upper Midwest, and suddenly weather isn't something that we can ignore. There is continuing heat and drought in China. We got some flooding issues in Argentina, and all these things are starting to show up. And it's something that the market can no longer ignore. Still no biofuel mandate, and that is holding back what could be really a nice rally with soybeans. We're back up to 1060, but you think about what happened last week and the 20-cent pullback we saw uh, on the rumor that the mandate for biofuel blending wasn't going to be quite as great as everyone expecting. We still don't have that clarity, but had we not had that, we could potentially be, maybe even thinking about pushing $11 here soon. Instead, we're at 1060. It's nice to see the rebound, but some clarity and mandate in line with original expectations would do a lot of good right now. Taking a look at the weather, the rain and from the Dakotas, Wisconsin, Ohio River Basin. We're also getting flooding in parts of the southeast again. Rain is really starting to slow down everyone. One area where I know it's been actually very beneficial is in Nebraska. Nebraska was one of the driest spots out there, and they did get some rain recently, so happy to see that. But everywhere else, it's going to slow things down a little bit, slow down planting pace. Not a problem because we were so far ahead, but it's definitely something that it's starting to get everyone's attention. In Mexico, they're very dry. They are finally projected to start getting some rain, not just both in their Gulf Coast, but in other regions as well. Um, that we'll see if that forecast holds up, and they do indeed get that rain. In Brazil, they're getting some unseasonable late rain in safrinha areas, which could boost yields towards the end of their growing season there. So that situation is leading to raised forecasts for corn out of Brazil. And then in China, it's still hot with some rain, but very little drought relief, not enough rain to solve their situation there. I kind of feel, especially with wheat, that has been the biggest driver of this rebound with wheat. When we were pushing down near bottoms around $5, and now we're back up around almost 5.50. I think the number one driver of that has been what's taking place in China. Weather's certainly not a major problem in the Black Sea region. They're getting good rains in Ukraine. Russia is getting a decent amount of rain, but could use more, but they're not quite hot enough yet for that to be problematic, which is why to me, it comes back to, what's taking place in China, and the market has had no choice but to take note of that and recognize that China is going to be doing a lot more importing of wheat than they had been last year and had been planning on. I'm bringing up this chart with corn basis because we're seeing improvement in 5 different locations. This is actually repeated on the soybean and wheat basis charts as well, although not quite to this degree. But basis is improving in general. It shows that buyers are starting to pick up the pace, and they're looking for you guys to sell more and make it a little more enticing. 20-cent improvement in the Chicago area is providing a 20-cent premium over spot prices. So it is definitely something. This could be signs of a shift. Commercial buying increasing. This is a more powerful force than the funds. And this could be the reason why we might start to see some short covering and a real turnaround going forward. And this is before really we have any impact of trade deals. I do feel like demand is being firmed up. People are starting to accept that demand's going to be there, whether we have trade deals or not, because the rest of the world isn't going to be able to get all of their grains from South America, especially if South America is using it themselves for things like biofuel and ethanol. And I do still obviously firmly believe trade deals are coming. So I think that's just the next shoe to drop. So we're starting to see the signs of the improvement we've been calling for at a time of year when people are skeptical the prices can improve, especially when we're getting off to a great start on planting. But we're seeing it right now, and we hope for it to continue. Taking a look at overnight prices, up just barely with corn, but up across the board. Most important note here is that in the last 24 hours, corn is up about 3 cents, soybeans are up about 6, and wheat is up about 9 cents. So soybeans getting the biggest bounce overnight, but wheat has had the biggest bounce in the past 24 hours. We've closed higher 2 days to start this week. Here we are on day 3. Hope it continues, and we definitely want to see this momentum continue to build and get us to the point where we can make those next sales. That's all for today. I hope everyone has a great day. I hope it's not too wet and doesn't keep you guys out of the fields too long, but I also hope you get the moisture that you need. Have a great day. Talk to you again tomorrow.